Guys, welcome back to my channel. Let's do a reading recap. I thought it would be super fun to, first of all, just make a book video because it's been a while. I love talking about books, as you guys know, and I love making content about books and just yapping my little heart out about the things that I've read. So I really wanted to make a book video. I thought it would be super fun to kind of just do a monthly reading recap. I've been wanting to do this for so long, but time has just really gotten away from me. But June was a good month. I read 4 books in the month of June, many of which were on here, and I just thought that I would go through them all with you, kind of give like a spoiler-free review, tell you what I rated them on Goodreads, and yeah, just share what I am up to and reading. Okay, let's go on and jump into it. First up, I would like to give an honorable mention to Funny Story by Emily Henry. I actually read this in May, but I literally finished it like a day or two before June. So since I'm not gonna get to gush about it on here, I want to throw it in as an honorable mention. I really loved Funny Story. I love Emily Henry books. I have read all of them except for Book Lovers at this point, and I loved every single one. Just the way that she writes is just so fun and cute, and nobody does a summer romance like Emily Henry. This book was so fun, and just the characters were so relatable. I loved the story of like forced proximity between them. It is basically about 2 people, Daphne and Miles, and they are now roommates, not by choice, but because their partners cheated on them with each other. So they have found themselves in a pretty unfortunate situation, but also fortunate because they're, you know, maybe they're better off for each other than the people they had beforehand. Miles is the main love interest in this, and he has my heart. I love Miles with everything in me. A lot of people have compared him to Nick Miller from New Girl. I kind of see it, but I don't fully agree because this might be controversial, but I don't particularly find Nick attractive, and I don't know, I also just think his personality would probably annoy me if we were actually friends in real life. Like, don't get me wrong though, I love his relationship with Jess and all of that, but I don't know, I see it to a degree. I definitely don't picture Miles as Nick Miller or like the actor, I'm forgetting his name. I picture it more like a Logan Lerman, maybe a Dylan O'Brien. I don't know why, but I always kind of mix up Dylan O'Brien and Logan Lerman. They literally don't look alike, but I've done this since I was a teenager. They're just kind of one and the same for me. I don't know why, but like they can play the same characters in my mind. They're the same person, and I've talked to other people who feel the same way. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why. I don't know, but definitely see like Logan Lerman with his scruffy little beard as Miles in this. And honestly, the main character, I pictured myself as the main character as Daphne. But I could go on and on about how cute this book was. I'm gonna share some of my favorite highlights. Okay, this is just so cute. It's a little bit weird out of context, but I have to share. Basically, he shows up and he brings her coffee, and then she's like, I don't actually really drink coffee. And then he says, you had one of their cups on your desk yesterday, so I assumed. And it's because she had a chai latte. I'm crying. I literally wrote, I'm crying. Here's another one. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about us. Tell her, Miles, tell her. Oh my God, these are all just like things that Miles says that I'm in love with. It says, no, don't be self-conscious, he says. It's so fucking cute. Oh, this one. You like people almost as much as they like you, and it makes being around you feel like standing in sunlight. I want someone to describe me the way that Miles describes Daphne. Okay, I'll stop myself there before I give away everything, but just really had to give a special shout out to Funny Story. Okay, let's move into books that I actually read in the month of June. First up is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This lovely book right here, which also so cute and summery. I just knew I had to have the book. I read it on my Kindle. If you guys are new here, I usually read on my Kindle, and then if I really like the book, I'll buy the physical copy because I'm crazy. This book was so cute. This was my first book by Abby Jimenez, and I immediately went out and bought another book from her because I really loved the way that she wrote, and honestly, her characters were just like really packed with so much trauma. It was kind of crazy. This is all about a couple, well, they're not dating, but their names are Emma and Justin. They actually meet on a Reddit forum, which I just thought was so funny and clever as a way to have these people meet. And basically Emma is a traveling nurse, so he lives in Minnesota and she travels there. They kind of figure out that they're both cursed, like whoever they date, once they break up, that person will get married. So they come up with a bet, or not a bet, but like a deal between the two of them that they're going to date, and they have to like check these boxes off of Emma's list, which is like they have to have 4 dates, they have to kiss, and then they break up, and then they are going to find their person. They're gonna break this curse. But obviously stuff happens in between, and it's just such a good story. I gave this a 5-star rating on Goodreads. I just really loved Abby's writing style and loved the emotional parts that were put into this, like really made the people feel imperfect in a way that was relatable and just really easy to read, really sad at times, but really good. Justin was such a sweetheart. Like, again, add him to my list of book boyfriends. I loved him. Let's find some quotes that I can share with you guys. This quote is kind of crazy, but I have to read it to you because this was just such good writing to me, and it was just kind of crazy. So they are kind of talking about their trauma. Emma has a really toxic mom, and she is kind of talking about that while Justin is sharing. He, you know, had a traumatic event with his dad, and so they're both kind of sharing how they don't like to talk about that. They're having a conversation, and they kind of say like, oh, you know what I think about sometimes? Like, you know when something bad happens to someone you love, and then you wish that you could like take that away from them. So then Justin says this: what if the universe listened? What if you or your mom or the kids were supposed to die in a car crash and your dad said, take me instead, and the universe did? And nobody remembers the way it was supposed to be because that's the deal. You never get to know that he's a hero. The fates are reversed, and the tribute takes the thing he's asked for to save someone he loves. If you think of it that way, instead of being sad that he's gone, be happy that he got what he wanted and that somebody loved you enough to take your place. Tell me that didn't just like perfectly describe like grief, and I don't know, it was just like, wow. Okay, here's also another deep quote. This is from Justin's perspective, and it's him kind of talking about love. It says, the best kind of love doesn't happen on moonlit walks and romantic vacations. It happens in between the folds of everyday life. It's not grand gestures that show how you feel. It's all the little secret things you do to make her life better that you never tell her about. Taking the end piece of bread at breakfast so she can have the last middle piece for her sandwich when you pack her lunch. Making sure her car always has gas so she never has to stop at the pump. Telling her you're not cold and to take your jacket when you are in fact very, very cold. It's watching TV on a rainy Sunday while you're doing laundry and turning her light off when she's fallen asleep reading. Sharing pizza crusts and laughing about something the kids did and taking care of each other when you're sick. It isn't glamorous. It isn't all butterflies and stars in your eyes. It's real. That's the kind of love that forever is made of. It kind of goes on a little bit more too, but I like, what a beautiful, beautiful quote to just summarize what love is. Like, I read that and I was actually like, my jaw dropped. Okay, and then just some fun quotes because this isn't all super in your feels. Justin says, you are the only thing in my life making me happy right now, and I'm not the least bit afraid to tell you that. And then just this one, just had to throw it in. All I ever think about is you. It's just little lines like that that just really get me in these little romance books. Okay, the next book that I read is This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I loved this book. I also gave this a 5-star review on Goodreads. I love Carly Fortune. I had read Every Summer After last year, which I really enjoyed. So I was super excited to read this. Again, a super fun summery cover. This book is all about Lucy, and she lives in Canada, and she always goes to Prince Edward Island with her best friend, and her best friend has a brother, and I'm sure you see where this is going. Basically, Lucy, a long time ago, like 5 years ago, went to Prince Edward Island and was waiting for her friend and saw this guy, had a crush on him. Things happen between them. She ends up finding out it's her best friend Bridget's brother. So she's like, that's one of her friend's rules. Do not fall in love with my brother. But then every summer that they vacation together, there's obviously a spark between them. There's tension between them. Everybody knows it. It's revealed later on. And this summer will be different because Bridget is going through a crisis right now. So Lucy needs to be focused and not focusing on her brother. That is pretty much the synopsis of this book. Let's get into some quotes that I loved from this. I honestly only highlight things that the guys say that are just like super cute. There is this one from Felix, that's the guy. It says, I relish you, Lucy Beth Ashby. In the context, this, again, these aren't gonna make sense out of context, but it was cute. We have all of my dreams, Lucy, every single one. And then lastly, you, he kisses me once. I am so in love with you, wildly, deeply, unrelentingly in love with you. Oh, I love him. Add him to the list. Okay, after that, I decided I would dive into another Carly Fortune book. I was kind of on a Carly Fortune kick at this point. So I read Meet Me at the Lake. Decided to read this one exclusively on my Kindle, so had it on here. Meet Me at the Lake is about a girl named Fern and a guy named Will, and the book goes back, I think it's like 9 years ago, to when she is living in Toronto. And you know how people make fun of a Californian accent? I just did it. I said Toronto. She's living in Toronto. She meets this guy. They end up hanging out for like the rest, almost like a full 24 hours, and they both have relationships, so nothing happens between them, but there's obviously a spark there. So they decide to meet up again in a year because it's kind of like right person, wrong time. We'll meet up in a year and see how things go. But he leaves her hanging. So this is now 9 years later, and they have to work together at her dead mother's lake house, like bed and breakfast inn that she has now inherited. I thought this was a cute book. I rated it 4 stars. I didn't like it as much as the other Carly Fortune books. I don't know, I just kind of felt like it dragged on at parts, but I did think that it was a very cute read. I actually don't have any highlights from it, so I guess that shows that nothing too crazy happened to where I felt the need to highlight it. I still think it's a cute summer read, which is kind of what I was looking for, just fast-paced summer reads. Okay, let's get into the last book. The last thing that I read is The Infinity Between Us by N.S. Perkins. I had this book on my TBR for quite a long time, so glad that I finally got around to it. Another typical lake book. You guys know the drill. I gave this one 4 stars. I thought it was cute, but I didn't love it. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. It was a nice beachy read. This book is about Violet and Will. We've got another Will. And they were childhood best friends. Their families were family friends and owned a beach house together, or a lake house. So every single summer they would vacation there together and made all these memories. She had a huge crush on Will. What else is new? Very Summer I Turned Pretty. something happened between the families and they have not talked to them now for quite a while. There was like a tragedy in her family as well. And she runs into him because she is trying to sell the beach house, but Will is there and Will really wants to keep the beach house. And since they share the house, there's obviously some issues that arise. So it is kind of just like them repairing their relationship. He tries to convince her that he can show her the town again, remind her why she loved it so much, and maybe that will convince her to not sell the house. So again, super cute book. I just didn't love it as much. It wasn't like a 5-star read for me, but it was a solid 4. Okay, when it comes to quotes, I only have a couple. It is obviously called The Infinity Between Us, and this was a quote from Will to Violet, and he says, "But the infinity between us, it's even grander." And it was kind of them talking about things in between them. This one is kind of crazy, and I'm just gonna say it because you guys aren't gonna know the context unless you read it, but it says, "You, I think of you." Okay, he's pretty cute. Now that I'm rereading it, I'm like, I remember, he's pretty cute. My last quote is just him saying, "Oh baby, I really missed you too." And I'm making it seem like it's a spicy moment. It was actually like a very intimate moment where she was crying and admitting she missed him, and he hugged her and said that. What is wrong with me? But those are all of the books that I read in the month of June. Pretty happy because sometimes my reading gets put on the back burner, so I feel like reading 4 books was like pretty good. That was like kind of an accomplishment for me. I did start reading Beach Read by Emily Henry, but I didn't finish it until this month, July. So I'm gonna keep that one, and when I do a reading wrap up for July, I'll include Beach Read in there. But just know I really liked it. So yes, thank you guys for watching this video. Leave book recommendations down in the comments. I'm always looking for new books to read. We've got about 2 more months of our fun summery books, so I want to make the most of it. I don't always match my books to the weather, but there's something about it right now. It's just really fun. I'm really in the mood for these like summery books, and I just want like quick, light reads that are just gonna make me wish I lived at a lake house, you know? But thank you guys for watching my video, and if you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe for more book content, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!